Great big thank you for tuning in today. We're on episode 3 of our Axial Bronco rebuild. If you're interested in looking at the entire video series, in the description box for this video you'll find a playlist link. Please click on that and you can see our original SCX3 review in its totally stock form from Axial. And you can also see the rest of the videos in this series. Thanks for coming along. Today we're going to have a look at a whole bunch of body mods and upgrades and stickers and graphics. And there's a few things on the body that we think were pretty important upgrades for our build. And we'd like to show them off for you today, so let's get started. It's time to hit this with the Dremel. These squares in the back of the Axial grill had to go. So basically I'm grinding them off from the back side. And that allows me to see when the Dremel tool first breaks through the plastic so I don't cut them right off. It works okay actually. And then with the knife, I go through and just simply square out the corners. All I'm doing is just kind of, extending the square cutout all the way to the corner basically. That's all I'm doing with the knife. Because the back of the material has already been kind of mulched off by the Dremel tool, and it was really reliable. It was really easy to reproduce one after the other after the other. After you get the first couple done, it was pretty easy, but a lot of work. So I had to do this in a few different stages, but they square out really nice with a knife. So I think it looks great, definitely better. And on the machine itself, assembled, it's way better. There was a little tiny preview of that on the last video when we were going over the paint assembly and interior and stuff. But now that you see the whole thing together, you can see why it mattered, to do the door jamb black and now to get the grill work on with the actual cutouts, because that's how the real trucks are. You can see through them all the way through just like that, right down to the grill work behind, the metal work behind the grill. So I had old graphics left over from the Vetera Broncos. That was a really wide Bronco body. These aren't available anywhere at all. I mean, these are probably 7 years old, but I decided to keep them after the Vetera Bronco had long ceased, and I'm installing them on this big Axial, and it's a perfect fit. The body width is almost exactly the same. So finally getting to peel off some of this graphics. You can make these yourself. You can make your own design and do them on your Cricut cutting machine or some other vinyl cutter, and you'll be fine. You can totally make your own graphics kits for these. If you take a look at the early Broncos from Ford in real life, there were several different stripe kits that were factory. There was an Explorer kit. There was a 2 or 3 other ones that had different floor pan stripes and mid-door stripes. This doesn't have any doors, so I went for the one that crossed over the hood. It seemed to fit this build the best. And then, of course, you can see it wraps around the fender corners and it heads down the back fender. So that worked perfect for me because the doors are already gone. So the original decor stripe that went through the door, that one, there's no point in using it. There's no doors. So as an adventure truck, this one needed a little bit of GCM on the sides, and these graphics actually worked out really well for us. We stole off the old Veteras. You don't need to use this. You could actually use a trim tape to do the same job. You could use a 3/16 wide or a 5mm wide trim tape in silver, and then you could use a 1mm trim tape on top and the bottom in silver as an example. You don't have to have these pre-cut. Like if you see this down the whole side of the truck, basically all it is straight lines. So there's no reason why you couldn't use some trim tape and actually just do this yourself. Like they make it for, I think you can definitely look in the airplane section, like RC airplanes. There's a lot of stripe kits available for those. So like why not, And it'll really spruce up a otherwise pretty dull paint job. So it has a little bit of gloss you can see there because of the clear coat, and that's all the gloss I ever wanted, but it's a really nicely protected paint now. I gotta trim some of this stuff off here. Now the reason I'm using this horrible Olfa knife thing is because my number 11 X-Acto blades are actually so bad that it's easier to cut a sticker with one of these box knives. I mean, that's pretty bad. So it's working fine. I will eventually get this set. I decided to stop it at the door jamb and not go into the door jamb, so it's kind of, there's a little bit of orange paint left over after the decal is gone off the side here. So, you know, you have to make compromises somewhere, and I kind of feel like if the doors were off, which they are, then the door wouldn't have had the trim kit into the door frame, so I think it's got to stop there. Anyway, it went on really nice. I am going to hit these with a hairdryer soon so that I can make sure that they stay all the way down. I added a few other decals to it. I went through my giant decal box and actually picked out a bunch of things, new side markers. I had old Bronco fender decals, some sponsor kits, some number kits, and that was kind of the whole point for me. And actually, let me stick this on the truck here, and you can actually see in a minute. But now the tail lights, these are super cool. The light buckets on this all the way around, they're really nice. I spent literally 5 seconds dusting the outside of those lenses with black paint. They're not actually like solid painted, they're kind of more like smoke tinted. But I felt with them as just the bright red plastic, they were a little too loud for me, so I dusted them with some regular black paint. And I will still easily be able to get an LED to shine through those, and eventually I'll put a light kit in it again. And there was a top trim piece here from Axial that you'll see in our original review. These 4 bolts went through an Axial trim piece that said Axial on it. It was like a big piece of black plastic. If you had an original early Bronco, like a full-size truck, and you took the lid off, you took the wagon roof off, you would simply have bolt holes. There wouldn't be an actual strip of plastic added on or any of this stuff. So I decided to make this as authentic as possible with the wagon roof off the back. It only needed bolt holes. So I got some scale bolt hardware and put them in instead of this. And that's pretty slick, man. Like, they do work really well. They're clean. They look super boss. They're black hex hardware from SSD. They're M2 size, and you know, you screw them right into there's a plastic skirt underneath that they screw into, so they can't fall out, and they hold all the Lexan sheets together, and they just look way better. Way better. Well, I promised I would toss the body on, so let's do a little bit of rotary table stuff here and have a look at where this is at. The grill work obviously is super boss now. The lenses for the signal lights in the grill were actually just clear, and then they had a colored LED in them. That's nice, but I wanted the lenses to actually have some tint, so I used an orange Sharpie marker to tint the lenses. That's a good trick you can use on a lot of things. I did not use a chrome pen on the bodywork at all. I might do the Ford lettering on the front grille with that, but otherwise, this is how it is. This is how I like it. It's got a really not in your face kind of race truck look. I'm super proud of it. I want to thank you all for watching this video, and I hope this inspires you to do some creative work on your own trucks. Thanks so much.